Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to our virtual Year 10 GCSE information evening. Obviously, we would normally gather together in the theatre for this evening, but due to various restrictions, we're hosting this remotely. I hope it will still be useful for you. If after you've watched the series of recordings you have any questions, please do get in contact and we'll be able to sort out any queries that you might have. My name is Mrs. Gould and I'm Deputy Head here at St Peter's, and I've been here, just over 2 years now. I feel really privileged to work here at this school with such fantastic learners that we have here. I oversee a variety of different areas. They include curriculum and exams, which is why you're hearing from me this evening. But you'll also be hearing from me over the next couple of years as we continue to support your children through the GCSEs that they are studying. So just before we continue, I'm just going to share our mission statement, as we always do anytime we gather together, even if that is remotely. With Christ as our guide, learning together, loving God and each other, becoming the best we can be. And it's that last line that this evening is really all about, how we help our young people become the absolute best that they can be. Exam access arrangements are applicable for your child. And there are 4 subject-specific recordings from our core subject leads. So for RE, English, Maths and Science, and they go through things like the key topics that are covered within the subject, how it's assessed, how many exams there are, how it's broken down, how you can support, and so on and so on. In addition, there is an information booklet that will be sent out, should have come out with the email telling you how to find these recordings, and it has information for every single subject we offer at GCSE at Key Stage 4. So for your son or daughter's option choices, that same information will be contained within that booklet. Now, a lot of young people think that this is the end goal of GCSEs. So after that 2 years, sitting in an exam hall for those formal exams and obviously coming out with the best grades they can. It's very much a key milestone, if you like, but I think we all know it's not the real goal of GCSE. What we're hoping for at the end of Key Stage 4 is this: smiley faces on results day who are justifiably really, really proud of how they have achieved, and that they've actually got everything they need for their next steps, whether that's sixth form, and we do hope most will stay on for sixth form, whether it's college, whether it's apprenticeships, whatever that may be, they've got options and choices because they're really, really proud of those results that they've worked very hard for. And so this evening, this set of talks is really about how can we support and help make sure that this is what we are all aiming for together. Now, just as a little bit of an aside before we move on, when it comes to GCSEs, I'm sure the vast majority of you, if not all of you, are aware that we're now onto the new GCSE grading. It's been around for a little while, but we no longer have A-star grades down to U. So the number system came in quite a few years ago now, and as you can see, the different equivalencies, so the top grade being a 9 and the bottom grade being a 1. And when we talk about passing GCSE as in, a good pass, that border used to be a C grade. There's now a standard pass at grade 4 and then a strong pass at grade 5. So you can see the numbers and letters don't quite match up, but you can see what they are roughly equivalent to. There's a much less emphasis on coursework with the new GCSEs as well. So there's most of them now are examined at the end of the 2 years with all of the exams at that point and no coursework. Those that do have some non-exam assessment, that's all contained within the information booklet, but there are very few of those subjects within GCSE. There are also some subjects that are GCSE equivalent, so our Cambridge Nationals courses, and they are actually much more coursework, which is why they're not GCSEs, they're GCSE equivalents. They have a slightly different grading structure, but again, that's explained within the information booklet. There are some subjects that have tiers of entry, as in you can be in a higher tier or a foundation tier. So for example, maths and modern foreign languages. Again, please do read through that information booklet and it will explain which subjects have tiers of entry. There are very few that do nowadays. So if I was to say what the secret formula is for success at GCSEs, I say simple, but actually it comes down to a lot of hard work. So one of the key things that's really important is good attendance. I know that's very much a challenge at this particular time, given obviously we don't always have a choice about whether we're in, if people are having to isolate and so on. But where it is possible to attend, being in school makes a massive difference. There's a really strong correlation with percentage attendance and chances of getting 5 or more grades at 5 to 9, so those higher level grades at GCSE, including English and Maths. And that's one of the sort of key measures for, students being able to move on to their next steps. So you can see just every sort of 5%, you can see that big sort of increase with chances of achieving those higher grades. In addition, attitude to learning is absolutely crucial. It doesn't always come down to just being clever. Actually, how hard you work and the attitude that you have towards improving is really important. So in thinking about how do I improve how I learn, these are the sorts of questions that a good student can ask themselves when they're in the process of learning. Before I do a particular piece of work, have I done this sort of thing before? What is it that I want to achieve out of this? What should I tackle first? Making sure that during their work, during their learning, they're asking for help, checking if they're on track, knowing what it is that will be the thing that helps them move forward. And then afterwards, just reviewing, how did that go? They've just done an assessment and it was really difficult. Was it down to the amount of revision they put in, the type of revision? They might have spent hours, but actually was it the most effective method? Who could they ask for ways to improve that? And so on and so on. So it's that constant cycle of evaluation and looking to kind of make those little tweaks as they go. And then obviously those two things combined are the things that help students to achieve better. I'd say one of the key things that any young person can do is just be really open to advice, listen to feedback from teachers, and whenever they're stuck or whenever they're feeling like they're not getting where they need to be, to just keep asking for help. So speaking of asking for help, there are some key people that you need to be aware of. So Mrs. Wright, who I've mentioned already, who oversees exam access arrangements. Mrs. Richardson, our SENCO, if you've got any concerns about special educational needs and whether there's an underlying need that maybe you feel is not being addressed. Mr. Hyam, who's your son and daughter's year leader, and of course the tutor team, so your child's tutor is a really important link that you have access to. Mr. Downs, who is our careers advisor, and if your son or daughter is beginning to think about next steps but maybe struggling to think about what that might be, they can always go to the library and fill out a referral slip for an appointment with Mr. Downs if that's something that they feel would benefit them. And there are more subject leaders than obviously these 4 names on this particular slide, but these are our subject leaders for our core subjects. So Mr. Herford, head of RE, Mrs. Nichols, head of English, Mr. Joseph, head of Maths, and Mrs. Hudson, head of Science. And in the information booklet I mentioned earlier are the names of our other subject leaders for our various subjects, such as PE, technology, and so on and so on. So, as I've already said, for this particular evening, there are videos for each of these particular areas. The core subject videos will talk about what sorts of things to expect over this year and next within GCSE. So really worth a watch as they will really help you know what it is that your sons and daughters will be learning in school and what they will be kind of working their way through over the next 1.5 to 2 years. So as I said earlier on, if you have any questions, please do get in contact with either the relevant subject leader if it's specific to a subject, Mrs. Wright if it's about exam access arrangements, or Mr. Hyam, your child's year leader. If you don't have their email addresses, you can email the info@St Peter's account that's listed there and just mark it for their attention, and it will be passed on to them. And obviously if you've got any questions, they will do their best to send you those responses and get in touch with you about that. As I say, I hope you find the series of videos useful and the information booklet useful. There is quite a lot there to get through, but it's obviously, as I say, it's a resource you can come back to and access at any point over the next year or two, so I hope it will be useful. Thank you again for attending virtually and for your ongoing support as parents. I have to say, I know Mr. Hyam will say this in his video, but your sons and daughters have made a fantastic start to Year 10. They've been working incredibly hard and have really started off GCSEs with such a positive attitude to learning. I'm sure it will stand them in excellent stead over the next couple of years. Okay, thank you.